What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Friday Night Knicks podcast. First of all, I'm joined by my lovely co-host Donald Stewart, and we have a special guest today. We've got Hector from the Knicks Morning Brew podcast. First, I'm going to go over to Hector, then to Donald, then to myself for first.
What up, my man? How are you?
I'm chilling, baby. Donald, what's good? Luca, I'm super excited to be here. Everybody in the chat tuning in, what it do? I got one part of Pinstripe Chronicles. I got one part of the Twin Bills, so I'm feeling good right here on a Friday night, boys.
We got the whole crew here.
We got the whole crew here, my guys. But no, thank you guys for inviting me on. I know you guys, last minute today, so I made sure I wanted to make time to make sure I joined you guys. So thank you guys so much for inviting me on.
No, it's my pleasure. So, what's up? How have you been, man? How's the show Knicks Morning Brew going?
Oh man, it's going amazing. Right now, we're in the process of moving all of our content from the main hub, which is KOD Media, over to the Morning Brew Sports, which is a new YouTube channel, which will be housing all of our content going forward. It's real good. This past year of just growing the Knicks Morning Brew and the Yankees Morning Brew, just the Morning Brew brand has been real good. So I'm super excited, man. And everything with the Knicks this season, perfect time to grow a channel and a new show, right? It's a season when we're actually doing good.
See, you've got a new co-host for your Yankee show on Thursday mornings, right?
Oh yeah, Uncle Tad's definitely. Uncle Tad's definitely be helping me out. Yeah, I do what I'm doing right now. I'm doing like a rotating co-host with me until the season starts. A lot of the guys that help me out with the open panel. So that's one thing I make sure I do. Whether it's the open panel or whether people who want to help me co-host, I always put that invitation out to anyone.
Awesome.
Donald, first thoughts, my man.
Well, the Knicks, Jalen Brunson. I'm worried about my man Brunson. My boy. Is my boy gonna be okay?
Yeah.
But no,
baby blue.
I know, baby blue. You're my boy, blue. You're my boy. So listen, the Knicks, they had a tough loss the other day. They battled really hard. They didn't shoot well. But they fought extremely hard, and I can't really, complain too much because it's a really good Kings team. It's just they've got better shooters, and they got De'Aaron Fox, who's just so fast off the dribble. His first step is electric, and we just don't have anyone that can stop him and keep him in front of them. That was the big thing that I took away from that. But listen, we didn't shoot well. No one played well apart from Josh Hart. It was just freaking incredible. You just kind of put it down to the fact that I think they were kind of exhausted. I think they're a little bit cooked. I think all those double overtime games and the fact that, I really like Tibbs, but he does overuse these guys a lot. And I think it's starting to wear on their legs a little bit, especially Randall. He looks exhausted. He's played every single game this year. Is there anyone else in the league that's played every single game and has his minutes? Like, I don't think so with his workload. And I think it's, not to make excuses for the fact that he's not played terribly well these last two games, but, he is an all-star and we have used the heck out of him. And I think it's I think it wore on him these last couple of games. So that's what I kind of took away from it. I think they're a little bit taxed, a little bit exhausted. I think the double overtime game against Boston has cooked them a little bit, and hopefully will regenerate some energy for the next game.
Before we get into the here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some recaps of the Kings and the Hornets games. We're obviously going to preview to tomorrow night's matchup against the Clippers. But Dal, I understand your viewpoint, and I actually agree with you. But they somewhat have to get it in shape quickly because tomorrow starts a back-to-back in LA. You got the Clippers on Saturday. You got the Lakers, and then you got the Portland Trail Blazers. And I think that's the rest of the road trip. I'm not sure. I'll look it up, obviously. But the first game, obviously, of this past week was the Hornets game. It was not very good way to end a winning streak. You obviously don't want ever a winning streak to win, but it wasn't just the way to do it. It was just like a very bad way. The Hornets are one of the worst teams in the NBA. But Hector, what were your thoughts in this game? I wasn't overly impressed with much.
Same, Lucas. Same. When it comes down to this Hornets game that we just had this week, it was a shame that we didn't see Tom Thibodeau reach into that bench a little bit more and try to get that 10th guy or that 11th guy off of the bench. He should have used that opportunity to give Evan Fournier a few minutes. That way, either IQ or RJ could have rushed for a few. Same thing with Jericho Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein. Since Isaiah Hartenstein was nursing somewhat of a foot injury, I was shocked to even see him in the game. Jericho Sims should have been out there for him, because in that 9-game winning streak, a big part of that 9-game winning streak was the emergence of Isaiah Hartenstein, and actually up to what we thought we was going to get from Hartenstein. But as soon as that foot injury came about, the last 2 games were a little bit sluggish. He was a lot better yesterday, but in that Charlotte game, he was super sluggish. He didn't have that extra bounce that he normally has. So yeah, I'm just disappointed he didn't reach into his bench. Knicks fans, we've been giving him credit about switching up his rotation, about actually finally trusting the young players, listening to the fans when it comes to putting D Rose in that one game when we were up digits. But he referred back to what Tom Thibodeau does best, and that's overusing his players when he doesn't have to. And that game against the Charlotte was the perfect example of that.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, myself, Hector, I'm a very harsh Tom Thibodeau critic. Donald's actually softer than I am on him, but I gave him credit during the winning streak. Yes, I agree with you about the whole 9-man rotation. They should have opened up an extra spot because that's a part of the wear and tear on the players we've talked about. We've talked about the long minutes. We talked about all that. It's just that the Knicks were up 17 in this game, and everything just fall apart. You saw Julius Randle forcing things. RJ Barrett, he started off after the after break session pretty well, but then he's dipped so far. So, Donald, what were your thoughts in the game of the Hornets?
Oh well, the Hornets game, it was also a case of no one really playing particularly well. Again, it was an ugly kind of game. Really, it was tough to watch. And although, to be honest, I thought at no point during the game did I actually think we were going to lose the game, because
I didn't think so either.
In the fourth quarter, I was like, what, we're playing like crap, but you know what, this Charlotte team's awful, so we should still back our way into it. But we just fell apart in the fourth quarter. I don't quite know really what it was necessarily. IQ didn't play particularly well. We really needed him to play well. When he wasn't cooking, we just didn't really have anything for the point guard spot. Have to be honest, I don't understand why you're not using D Rose at all. I mean, listen,
That's fair.
Even if you get him to give him 10 minutes, just because he can just settle down the offense and he can start moving the ball around and maybe cut to the rim a couple times. I mean, listen, I'm not asking for miracles, but the guy is a legit MVP, ex-MVP player. I know he's old and whatever, but he's still got enough in the bank where he can give you 10 minutes of solid basketball. He's not going to defend, but I don't think we really needed it. We just needed some scoring, and we didn't have it. And I think that's kind of what we've been missing with Jalen Brunson not playing, is because we're kind of struggling off the dribble. Creating your own shot, maybe guiding guys in their own spaces, getting better spaces. We're not doing that, and in the end, it's meaning that RJ Barrett's handling the ball handling duties, and that's always a disaster. And Julius Randle handles the ball handling duties, and he is, he's not the guy you want in these scenarios. Little bits here and there, fine, because he's he can pass the ball really well, but what happens if he is your main ball handler is he gets the ball in bad spaces for him not to do what you want him to do. You want him to be in the paint, going at guys, finishing at the basket. But if he's picking up the ball high, what they say at the edge of the perimeter, that's not the best spot for him. And it leads to double teams, and he's going to have to pass out of the double teams. You saw Clifford was really focusing hard on Julius Randle, so there was a lot of double teams, a lot of help coming in, so he was forced to have to get rid of the ball, and so we didn't help ourselves by maybe putting in a little bit more scoring. I didn't really understand why we didn't see any D Rose or even Evan Fournier, a little bit of shooting. I mean, listen, it's not the case of Monday morning quarterback, but when your team's cooked and playing exhausted, why not bring in guys who are contributing to what, like 30 million that you're paying just to sit
Of
when
course.
they're clearly
Well,
healthy and they're experienced and they know how to play the game? A little bit weird for me.
yeah, if I may just add just one
Go
more
ahead.
thing, Luca, when you look at the Charlotte Hornets, and it's a perfect example between the two coaches. Yes, the Charlotte Hornets record is what it is, but at the same time, the Charlotte Hornets had McGowan's, Thor, Richards, and the starting center Williams. All four of those players weren't on the team last year, and they started the season in the G League. Yes, they're dealing with injuries and they're forced to play these young players, but at the same time, all four of those players that I've mentioned all contributed to Charlotte's win the last game against us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Donald factored in like we should have added some offense, because it's not even just the stress of the Celtics overtime game. It was the rough battle against the Heat on Friday night. Because that game, like for the most part, it was the Knicks had it in their bag until late. Obviously, Julius Randle saved them miraculously, but I wasn't impressed with the Hornets game. There's a lot of people out there saying, well, Julius Randle had an off game. Well, sure he did. Again, I'm just the guy that's not justifying the bad performances. So we go into Thursday, we go into yesterday. This I thought was the Knicks' biggest test because this team is the number one offense in the NBA. They're a very fun team to watch. They'll win at least a round, the Sacramento Kings. So they faced the best offense, and I thought they failed. They allowed 60 points in the paint, which is actually, I think, 10 points or 15 points above their regular. I mean, Domantas Sabonis was backing down Mitchell Robinson, whoever in the paint, whoever decided to. He had a triple-double in the game, by the way. De'Aaron Fox was miraculous off the dribble. He was beating Josh Hart. He was beating Julius Randle, whoever he wanted. He feasted, he feasted, he feasted. So one thing I didn't understand, well, obviously Jalen Brunson left the game, so they brought in McBride. McBride was brought in late, to prevent the dribble penetration. I thought he had solid reps, but I didn't understand why the Knicks brought in. I don't understand why the Knicks didn't bring in Quentin Grimes earlier, late in the game. If you understand what I'm saying,
No, I
because
get that.
he was starting to find his shot from three.
Mhm.
First of all, the team shot like shit. First of all, yeah, as Morning Brew pointed out. 13 of 50 from three. You're never, ever, 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 ever winning a game shooting 13 of 50 from three or attempting nearly 53.
We were only like 60% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
As
It was
well.
disgusting.
Yeah, we missed 13 free throws. We were, I think, 21 of 31 or something like that, or 12 of 21 or something odd. But yeah, we missed double digits in free throws in last night's game.
We missed 11 free throws, 20 of 31. The Kings were only a few percent better. They were 24 of 32. But
and that's shooting yourself in the foot because
exactly
when you're down 20, right, and you're coming back and you're working yourself back into the game, the way to do it is to stop the clock and get to the free throw line. We were doing that. All you need to do is just hit your free throws. If you hit 5 more free throws than you did, then we've got a different conversation right now.
Yeah,
it was just really bad. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and free
throw shooters apart from Jalen Brunson, though. That's the problem.
I'm gonna try to set up the alley-oop for my guy Luca when it comes to Tom Thibodeau. Last night was another example of him being out-coached. Mike Brown literally out-coached Tom Thibodeau last night. There's two factors when you look at it. Tom Thibodeau, again, not making adjustments, waiting until like 20 seconds left in the game before he brings Quentin Grimes in. Quentin Grimes didn't play for the last 4 minutes, which was bonkers because he literally just made 3 out of 4 when it comes from beyond the arc. So that was a bit weird. Secondly, Julius Randle did not show up for this game. We all know since Julius Randle has been a New York Knick, one of the rivalries he has had in the NBA has been against Sabonis. Him and Domantas Sabonis, they have this weird rivalry. They have weird bad animosity towards each other. And Domantas Sabonis showed out last night, and he got a triple-double. He made Julius Randle look foolish, and you could tell Julius Randle wanted to make it personal right from the beginning of the game when it comes to Sabonis, but Sabonis was just schooling him. Mitchell Robinson was getting schooled as well against Sabonis. Isaiah Hartenstein, another good effort from Isaiah Hartenstein, but again, running out of gas late in the game, and I'm not trying to say that these guys, they may be tired or jet lagged or whatever. Listen, it's 82 games in a season. Everybody has back-to-back games. Everybody deals with overtime games. And like Josh Hart said the other day, They're playing a basketball game. At the end of the day, they're privileged to play this game, which is literally just a kid sport where they could play millions of dollars. The real people who are tired are those that got to wake up 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and work 12-hour shifts. So when Josh Hart said that, as a fan, he won me over because I worked in EMS for years, having to work a double shift, having to work 24 hours straight while working overnight into the daytime because I had no relief. So Josh Hart, he needs to be a Knick for life after those comments.
Love Josh Hart. Josh Hart is my guy, and he was incredible yesterday. He was incredible, man.
Yeah.
I felt like he had 150 offensive rebounds. Like all these offensive rebounds and set it up on a plate for our guys, and they all missed. So what can you do?
Yeah, but no, even when it comes to that, Donald, and I apologize for cutting you off, Luca. Even when it comes to that, another example of Tom Thibodeau being out coached. If you got Josh Hart playing so good, he was 3 or 4 from the field. Why aren't you calling plays for Josh Hart coming out of timeouts? Why isn't plays being run through Josh Hart? If Emmanuel Quickly is 1 of 11 from the field for the entire game, why are you running the offense through Quickly? Allow Josh Hart to run the offense, and everyone feeds off of him.
Yeah, because Josh Hart is actually a really good passer. He ranks really highly in terms of creativity, in terms of his passing. Very weird that we didn't see him handle the ball more, especially with Brunson out. Also, there was a few things that Thibodeau did get out coached in. As much as obviously Hart is fantastic, he shouldn't have been guarding De'Aaron Fox because De'Aaron Fox cooked him because he's got that foot speed. And again, why wasn't Grimes put on De'Aaron Fox? Like I think the telling possession was with 26 seconds to go. We were down 2, I believe, and then we matched up Hart with Fox, and then Fox just darted past him. I actually audibly went like that because that was the game over at that point. Because as soon as I saw him get beat, I was like, "Oh, that's a layup, and that's the game over." And that's exactly what happened. And then, and that's what was so strange. It was like, "Where's Quentin Grimes? Grimes has been red hot. Why is he sitting on the bench?" Like it was there was a minute distribution that I didn't understand. And also like it was quite clearly obvious that the main guy we needed to watch out for the fourth quarter was Fox because he was cooking. He's like 14 points in the fourth quarter, something like that. Why did we not like double team him or keep him at the perimeter because he's not a good perimeter shooter? Just keep him out of the paint for the love of God.
Yeah,
I didn't understand that. So yeah, there's some certainly things I'd like to critique Tibbs on. I think that he gave RJ Barrett too many minutes. RJ Barrett really sucked, in my opinion. And I think that Grimes should have taken his minutes. Grimes was playing really well. And also, here's another thing I'm picking up on. Grimes is getting lost, as does RJ Barrett, but Grimes gets lost amongst all these ball handlers, all these ball dominant players, because he's a guy that doesn't need the ball to be effective. But unfortunately, the Knicks take advantage of that and never pass him. It was only when RJ Barrett was off the court that Grimes started to cut to the basket more, and he had a nice reverse layup, and he was hitting open threes, and he was making his shots. Because hate to gang up on RJ Barrett, but let's be honest here, he never passes the ball. He just has his head down.
He's been horrible with that.
Straight into double teams and straight into the paint without looking, and it's really infuriating because he's leaving guys wide open. Josh Hart all alone in the corner. Grimes all alone in the corner. Ignores them all, and he just barrels straight into the paint. And luckily he gets fouled a lot, but he gets bailed because he doesn't go anywhere. Because he doesn't have a mid-range game or a sky hook or any kind of game.
I was like watching one of the possessions yesterday, like, okay, we need a 3 to get back into this game. All I see is guys open in the corner, RJ Barrett driving into like 3 different players in defending at the rim. I'm like, all right, here's what RJ does. Wide people wide open in the corner. We need a 3. Oh, let's go in for a 2 and get a shot blocked. That's what I understand. Like his basketball IQ, when I watch him more, becomes more and more questionable.
Yeah,
First of all, shout out to the chat. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for supporting us. Go ahead, Hector.
Yeah, definitely. No, I want to say same thing. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's watching. If you're watching this on the playback, hit the like button for the boys because we're having a great conversation. But no, yeah, when it comes to RJ Barrett, bro, the only thing I'm going to say, it gets frustrating when He's not knocking down shots that he has to knock down.
Right.
But what makes it more frustrating is that there's sometimes the referees, and I'm not blaming the referees, but there's sometimes the referees, they're not blowing that whistle for RJ Barrett. Like there was a play towards the end of the game. I think it was like towards like the 2-minute mark where RJ Barrett's going up for a layup. And that was literally a goaltending because it hit off the backboard and they counted it as a block for Sabonis. So there was several plays that RJ Barrett wasn't getting the whistle, not using that as an excuse because he definitely has to clean up on a lot of his mistakes. But when the referees, referees at the end of the day, they go off of how can I say your tendencies, right? So if the referees know that your tendencies are to get blocked or go into bad traffic, they're not going to give you the call. Exactly. Even if it is a call that should go your way, they feed off a tendency when it comes down to it. It's the natural human element, right? If you're used to somebody getting a foul call from every other referee, 9 times out of 10, you're going to give it to them. But if it's somebody that's not used to that or not used to getting that treatment, you're not going to blow it for them.
Completely agree. MH was saying RJ feels obligated to take shots because the rest of the bench can't create for themselves. Yes and no, but he's just not efficient at the basket. Like, how many times did I watch yesterday when there was an open layup? It would he tried a reverse layup and then it just bricked off the front of the rim.
What are you doing? Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Just go up.
He has no layup package. He doesn't have any post moves. We said this constantly on the podcast. It's so frustrating to watch somebody in year 4 not have a proper layup package. All he does is chop the ball, try to post up, and it just doesn't work. But
Luca, if you're familiar with like NBA 2K, it's like he has an 83 rating, but with just no badges.
No badges.
Yeah, none. He has no badges whatsoever.
Definitely.
That's it, man. Doesn't have any.
Not bag. Wrong.
What his game is.
MH says he
Tell
could be more.
Hector, what is he good at?
What does he improve that?
I honestly don't. I don't know. Maybe his sneaker game. Puma's looking good on his feet. Besides that, I don't know.
Unbelievable. And we've said this on the podcast multiple times, we feel there's a certain RJ hive out there who I wouldn't trade RJ for God or shit like that. But I don't think he's untradeable. Obviously we'll revisit that in the offseason, but I think there's a lot of people out there who are not addressing RJ's flaws and RJ's game in general, how bad it's taken a hit. And his defense isn't even good either. He was getting mopped the floor with yesterday and the day before. It's just you want to see one side of the ball consistent and none of it's there.
John, how would you address these next few games, assuming that Brunson's hurt? How are you gonna?
Yes, I think we should move to that.
Nice segue for me. When it comes to these next 2 games, don't play Brunson. I'm not. Do whatever you can to not play Brunson against both LA teams, the Clippers and the Lakers. If you go to bring him back against Portland, against Dame Lillard. If you go to bring him back, do not have him play against these next 2 games, especially when you look at it, right? Over the last 6 days, Jalen Brunson, he was listed as his status was, day of, it was just basically whatever that was his status was listed as, right? He leaves the game at halftime. Don't bring it. You should have never even played them last night. You honestly should have never played them last night. If you're going to not play him in the second half, why even play him in the first half? I know the coaching staff, and probably Tom Thibodeau and his father probably went to him and asked him, how are you feeling? And knowing Jalen Brunson as a Knicks fan, we could tell he's a dog. He's going to tell them that he's ready to go. But they should have just took that. And I think they panicked because they lost against Charlotte and they didn't want to go on a 2-game losing streak because I said it on my show. If you start a losing streak, whether it be 2 games or 3 games, those 2 to 3 game losing streak, that's going to undo all the good that 9-game winning streak brought. It literally could just undo all of that, right? So I honestly think that they were pressured because they lost against Charlotte. They didn't want to lose against Sacramento. Well, you lost against Sacramento. Now you got to face the Clippers and the Lakers. And if I'm the coaching staff, I'm not playing Jalen Brunson. I'm going to let him rest. Next week, after these 2 games that we got back to back, next week we only have 2 games that we play. It's against Portland. And I forgot the other team that we played, but we only got 2 games next week. Rest Jalen Brunson. Do not rush him back. Get him ready for the postseason because that's when we need him.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think we've overworked him, overused him, and I think it's starting to wear him down a little bit. I think he's gotten hurt, but that injury he's got is so awkward to manage, man. It's kind of like DJ LeMahieu's toe injury.
Yeah,
because it's just going to be awkward and it's going to hang around. Like you're going to think that you're completely fine until you're on the court, and then just the pressure of being on the hard floor is going to re-aggravate the injury, and that's exactly what happened with Brunson, man. And so I don't know how they're going to manage it, but the best thing to do is rest. But my worry is we don't really have any shot creation without Jalen Brunson, because RJ Barrett doesn't create it off the dribble. Randall's kind of average at he's okay, but we need better, especially from the point guard spot. And Quickly is our only hope in that regard. But if he's off shooting, we don't really have anyone. So that's why I really think we should play D Rose, but I don't think we will. I think we'll be using Miles McBride, and he just can't do that. He doesn't have an offensive game to speak of. And I thought that we really struggled with Miles McBride on the court yesterday and against Charlotte.
If you're looking for a game where you could play Evan Fournier coming off the bench, it's going to be against the Clippers that struggle defensively, especially from beyond the arc, defending the three-point line. You're going to have to play Evan Fournier in this game. And let's see what you get from the French assassin. But when it comes to Jalen Brunson, he is leading the entire NBA when it comes to ISO scoring and efficiency. Jalen Brunson is number one. And you can see it really hurts us when we don't have Jalen Brunson to close out the game when we need to get a basket when everyone else is missing.
100%. That's what we're really missing, man. That's what I'm talking about. Creativity off the dribble, just organizing the offense. We just don't have that now, and I'm quite worried. And this 2-game losing streak could start climbing without Brunson, and we take on the both LA teams and then Damian Lillard. Lillard's insane. He's dropping 70 at the drop of a hat. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do. So I'm concerned about that, like legit.
I gotta agree with you guys. I think it's best to rest him for now. Obviously, you don't want to see a major drop in the standings where God forbid the Knicks go back to 6th or closer to playing. But you know what? You gotta be err on the safe caution side. And I think somebody said something on Twitter like the Knicks fans are gonna come up with an excuse for every game they lose without Brunson now. And I said, you know what? We can't come up with these excuses. We gotta play this next man up mentality. Whenever you are a playoff team or aspiring to be one, you have to play the next man up mentality. We have players who can compete. Obviously, the shot creation lacks, but we have to move the fucking ball. Too many times, Thursday and Tuesday against Hornets, too many. Too much ISO. Too much lack of ball movement. Too much dead space.
But one thing that we are really good at, and we should give the team credit for that and the coaching staff, is we're really good in transition.
That's true. That's fair.
We're phenomenal at it. And you were saying earlier that Brown outcoached Tibbs, but to be honest, Brown gave Tibbs the biggest compliment coming out. I think it was the third quarter interview, and he was like, "This team is kicking our ass. Like they are better at us in transition, and they shouldn't be." And he's like, "We're just letting them do a lot of things," but he says that they are playing really, really hard. And you know what? Even that's why I don't feel too bad about the Kings loss. I felt worse about the Charlotte loss, but again, that was the end of a 9-game winning streak. I'm not too worried about that either. But I actually took a lot of credit from the fact that we played like shit. Nobody played well apart from one guy, yet we came back down from 20 with shooting like 30% from the field because we just fought, hustled, got out in transition, battled, and you know what? That's what we'll always give. And you have to give Tibbs credit for that, man. If you're gonna call him out I'm gonna call him out for his template coaching and never moving off his rotations and his set minutes for guys. I have to give him credit for the fact that every single night these guys absolutely go to war, and I think that that's something that should be given credit for.
No, definitely. Definitely. Couldn't agree more. And another thing, before we get to the Clippers preview, going to do it real quick before I know Hector has to leave. But I
just want to let you guys know I got a few more minutes. I can rock out to like 6:40, 6:45. I'm good.
All right, no problem. Beautiful. So I was going to say another thing that the Kings obviously outcoached the Knicks with is just the off-ball movement. It's just so pretty how you obviously have a big man who can pass in Sabonis, and the Knicks struggled heavily with the dribble handoffs. Like they were going under the screens and it kept annoying the crap out of me. Like Keegan Murray would come off a screen, he hit a 3. Malik Monk got hot from the bench last night. Obviously, we suffered the major drought. Offensive boards were a thing. And Mike Brown said in the postgame, he was not happy. He was like, we cannot be offensive. We can't let the other team get as many offensive rebounds as they did. I got the numbers here. The Knicks got 23 offensive rebounds. Yeah, 23. Kings had 6.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
It's weird. And the Knicks out rebounded the Kings by 16 rebounds. It was 58-42. That was the ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the only reason why we were in the game, but there's no excuse for losing. With that ratio, no excuse for losing.
Again, I'm just really looking for I'm looking for these guys to step up. We were kept in the game. Give credits to Josh Hart. I love his mentality. I love that he's embraced the New York mentality, Hector, because he said, out there they're the best fans in the world. I understand why these fans are upset when a player doesn't play well. They have all the expectations with that, and he's just embraced the mentality. So
we know what happened with Mitchell Robinson? Why did he not play down the stretch?
Foul trouble.
Foul trouble and being embarrassed by Sabonis. Like if you're the coach, if you're Tom Thibodeau, and if your starting center is getting embarrassed every time he's out there against Sabonis and being put in foul trouble, you're not going to play him also. And this is not the first time Mitchell Robinson has had problems with Sabonis. It's been going back to the days Sabonis was with Indiana that he's always given Mitchell Robinson issues. And Mitchell Robinson, when it comes to centers that can stretch the floor, that's when he has some weaknesses, right? Because he tries to be that defensive anchor that helps out and holds everything down on the block. But when it comes to being extended and having to come out to that 3-point line, that's when he starts like getting into foul trouble because he's trying to block the three instead of just letting the play happen.
That's a great point.
Definitely. Sabonis was beating. I mean, Robinson was also obviously in foul trouble, but he was hesitating too much. Like he jumps a lot. He bites on the fakes a lot, which kind of annoys the crap out of me because you expected year 4, year 5 that he doesn't bite, but that's what happens to him when he's Sabonis is finesse. He's all finesse. He has skill, obviously, but his footwork is masterful. Obviously,
and he's also
basketball IQ.
Very high basketball IQ.
Yeah.
Just once again, I want to say sup to the chat. We are 53 subscribers away from the mighty 1,000. Shouts to the chat. Shouts to Jeffrey, John, everybody else. Let's get there, folks, before opening day. So we got to head to the Clippers game. We don't know if Jalen Brunson is going to play, so that's obviously a bit of a worry. Hopefully we step up in this game. So just to go some stats, the Clippers recently beat the Toronto Raptors. They are 35-33 they're 5th in the Western Conference. They are 22nd in points per game. They are 13th in opposing points per game. They were actually, I think, when the last time we played them, which I think was early February, they were top 10 in defensive rating. They've ballooned to 14th. So there's obviously something happened there. I'm not sure which. They're 19th in offensive rating. They're another thing to count out for the Knicks defense. They are 6th in 3-point shooting, 37.7% from 3. Obviously, got guys like Marcus Morris, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, who all can shoot from 3. So offensive rebounds, they're pretty much mid. Points in the paint, they are 28th. Opposing points in the paint, they're around mid as well. So they're very collectively mid at some point, mid in most stats. But the 3-point shooting, I think you have to watch out for. Eric Gordon's going to be a factor. Obviously, Norman Powell's out. So their starting lineup projected would be Westbrook, George, Leonard, Morris, and Zubats. Now, with that lineup, the Clippers have a 109.6 offensive rating, which is actually very low for our standards today. But the defensive rating is 104.2, which is excellent. So they have a really good starting lineup defense, but I think when it goes to the bench, it weakens a little bit. So I'm going to go with Hector and Donald for keys to the game.
For me, keys to the game is just limiting your turnovers, right? When you look at the last game that we played that we lost in that fourth quarter, we had for the entire game, I believe it was 13 turnovers collectively. But in that fourth quarter alone, we had 7 turnovers, right? So the keys to the game when it comes to the Knicks against the Clippers is limiting the amount of turnovers that you give to the opposing team. Second thing, and I think the most important thing, lock in on Bones Highland. Do not let this young man burn you, because the last time we played against him in the Denver Nuggets, he burnt us off the bench, right? So when it comes to Bones Highland, it's one of those microwavable players that's in the NBA that could easily give you 30 points in like 15 minutes. So whatever you got to do, zero in on Bones Highland, and I want to see a better effort coming coming from Julius Randle, right? I know a lot of fans, and myself included, I've said this season he has rewritten his story here in New York City when it comes to being a Knick. He is having the best season of his career, but I'm going to need him to step up tomorrow, especially if I'm expecting Jalen Brunson to be out. I need to see all-star, all-team NBA Julius Randle show out and perform, because I'm going to keep on giving Julius Randle his flowers. I've said this many times before. A man only gets his flowers the day that he dies. So, Knicks fans, if you're out there, please give Julius Randle some flowers before the season is over.
Very good point. I like that saying. Donald, what are your keys to the game?
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, Julius Randle is the key to the game because he can cook this Clippers team. Like, he can cook them. He could get cooked on the defensive end, though. But offensively, he can cook them. I think there's a lot of room to cook them in the paint. So that's what I'm looking for. I need to get him moving in the paint. But the thing is, again, without Brunson, him getting in the right spaces, and it's not his fault because he's going to want to take the ball handling duties and help carry the offense, but that affects his spacing on the court. You want him in the paint going at guys because no one can deal with him when he's in the paint because he's faster and he's stronger than everyone.
Right.
But if you have him taking the ball high up the court and then driving, it's so much easier to close in on him because he doesn't have that kind of game. So the key for me is not just Julius Randle cooking, which he needs to do, but we need some help at the guard spot. The guard spot is very, very important to me. We need a good ball handling job. So even if IQ ain't cooking, he needs to be nice. He needs to be setting up the offense. He needs to be passing the ball and getting in the right spaces. And also, I want to see more of Grimes. Like, Grimes gets lost, as I say, amongst all these ball handlers, gets completely lost. And that's a shame because he's got a really nice game. I like his game much more than RJ Barrett's game. Like, his game is infinitely more impressive. He's got a smoother jumper. He's much more athletic, much better defender, and he's much better off the dribble. And
quick first step.
Much better first step. He's got reverse layups. He's got all these things, which we never see because he gets completely lost in the starting lineup. So, again, I would set up plays for him. And Josh Hart, as Hector says. Why not? If Josh Hart's always cooking. He's always cooking. He's been basically been unstoppable since becoming a Knick. He's like 60% from three. I'd want to set more plays for him.
Last time Josh Hart had double digits when it comes to field goal attempts in a game, he scored 27 points for us.
I think that might have been against the Jazz, the Nets, or something like that. But I agree with all your points. I'm going to add some of my own. First of all, win the boards battle. I think the Knicks can do that. They're obviously top tier in the rebounds. The Clippers are, again, mid-tier. I like Zubats, but I don't think he's like as impactful on the offensive boards as Mitch. Grab as many offensive boards as you can, but actually please convert on those opportunities. Like, Donald brought up the one possession where 5 offensive rebounds in one possession, and it took us for an inbounds play to make the 3-point shot with RJ Barrett tying the game. I think it was like 95 or 95, something like that. So I want to shout out Sox real quick. What's going on, man?
Thank you, man.
Like and subscribe for the great New York sports content. Yes. Win the boards battle. I would, again, as you guys said, give Josh Hart some plays. Actually, I would let him run the offense if you guys have highlighted, because I think he serves as that leadership kind of guy where he is, when he talks, his teammates will listen. So him being a point guard, you don't want him obviously being the primary ball handler, but him being secondary to help out Emmanuel quickly or Julius Randle, whoever, it would help. It would honestly help because he sets everything up. I think he'll calm the storm, but he also in transition can help out, get the easy points. And another thing, Obi Toppin has not played well the past few games.
Oh, he played like crap.
No.
Like we all want to justify him getting more minutes, and I understand that, but the development hasn't been there. Like, he's not been shooting well from three. He's been getting wiped off more on defense. Like there were times, I think it was on Tuesday night, where Josh Hart was pushing a transition. Obi runs to the corner. He doesn't run right to the rack anymore. Right. Maybe it's just, his role or whatnot, but you know what? You got to know that as a player. Like, let's get the easy basket. Let's get the easier basket. Let's not, worry about a three-point attempt, whatever. But another thing is, you can't shoot 13 to 50 from three. You cannot. This team, as an entire whole, has to step up from downtown. First of all, you shouldn't have to take 53s. Obviously, if you're desperate, that's what's going to happen. But this is one of the more mid-tier defending teams from the three-point line. So you can get your shots off. You definitely can get your shots off. Randall needs to step up from three. RJ Barrett needs to be more efficient. I'm going to say that every time until he becomes an efficient scorer. Obviously, I think he's a high-volume, low-efficiency kind of guy. Quickly should not start 0 for 10 tomorrow. Again, Quentin Grimes, I said this on the podcast, he needs at least 10, 12 shots a game, in my opinion, as a sharp shooter as he is. Even, cutting and, coming off screens and all, just run plays. If, everybody says, Grimes gets lost in the offense, this game, he only scored 5 points, but how many touches is he actually getting? And all of that, like, he's a shooter. You're supposed to get him into some sort of rhythm. So that's what I'm hoping with Grimes. Obviously, Hart's going to do his thing quickly. As Hector said, bring Fournier off the bench, man. We need scoring. We need 3-point shooting. And he was really good for us, I think, the last time he came off the bench. So
should we get into play of the week before Hector leaves?
Yeah, definitely. I have the files. I have 3 plays of the week I've selected.
Copy. Let's go.
All right. So the first one, I think it's pretty obvious. Let me just find the exact file. Yep. First one, I think it's going to be the anonymously voted as play of the week. Let's play the tapes.
Oh, yeah.
Julius Randle's knockdown 3, which effectively was clutch. Let's watch that again. Randle loses the ball.
Oh, miracle. Absolutely miraculous.
And what I loved as well, if you're going to see here that Tom Thibodeau gets knocked down. If anybody,
yeah.
I didn't realize that until late. I was like, he got knocked down, and he's like, ooh, and everybody, like, I think it was a couple hours after the game, like, he got knocked down, and then I saw people helping him up. I'm like, okay, obviously Randall didn't mean to do that, but that is what video 1, which is the play of the week A. This is play of the week B. This is also Randall fadeaway jumper to beat the buzzer in the third quarter.
Oh, that was huge.
That one.
That changed.
Yeah.
That swung the momentum. And again, it's impressive that he does it over 2 defenders. So roll the tapes one more time.
Oh, beautiful.
Impressive. And the last one, I don't think it'll be voted in, but I think it was a very clutch play by this player. Manuel quickly tying the game late in overtime.
Thought about it.
Quickly drives Grant Williams right to the rack.
Smooth
order. Put up nearly 40 points that game. Let's watch it again. Nice handoff. So smooth.
Yeah. If I had to make my vote, it would be for the game-winning shot in Miami, just because of the situation, being the game-winning shot, the deciding factor of it. That one against the Lakers, against the Celtics was a solid one to end the third quarter, like you said, to switch the momentum around. But if I had to, I would pick the one against Miami. Now, this is what I want to ask you guys. When it comes to that play against Miami, when he bobbled the ball, I think all of us collectively gave the same 4-letter curse word that starts with an F. I think all 4 of us, all 3 of us did the same thing. But when he made that shot, Jesus Christ, I couldn't believe he made that shot. That was such a tough shot, and that was such a good shot for him to make.
Hector, it kind of reminds me of Jamal Crawford's buzzer beater against Denver. Now, this was like 10 years ago.
Yes.
Remember when he got the ball, he got it back, and then he lost it, and he got it back, and then launched it, and it went in.
Just so we don't age each other, right? I'm gonna say 10 years, even though it was like 16 years ago. But just so we don't age our stuff, it was like 16 years ago, bro. We could say 10. We could say 10, just so we could be down with the cool kids.
I find my fellow old brother.
It was the Eduardo Nahara game, as they would call it. Obviously, I was watching basketball. I know the play. I know the situation. So, Donald, are we going to unanimously agree on play of the week as the game?
Well, I think the Celtics one was actually much smoother and him just absolutely in his bag. But the Heat game and the with the magnitude, the fact that Riley was already standing up expecting to get a win, and he was like, like the evil man that he is. And Julius Randle just sticks it in his face with that wonderful shot. Considering the defense that was on him, he was getting hounded right out of the court, and he still managed to get that shot off. I don't know how he did it. Miraculous shot. Absolutely genius. He wins that for sure.
They nearly lost the ball twice on that possession. I was like, no, they're going to blow this. They're going to blow this.
And he kept fighting. He would not let that win. He refused.
It's like there's like something spoke to me. Like when Randall attempted that shot, I was like, oh my God, I think this is going to go in. Then I was like, yes. I was so happy.
You need to somebody has to take that clip and put the music for Moneyball, right? Because when he throws that shot, the silence from Moneyball, and then
definitely, we might have.
I'm wondering what the people upstairs and below me in my apartment would have heard to this man going, "Oh!" Like
they probably would have called 911 for a wellness check. I would have called for a wellness check for you, bro.
Luckily, I wasn't that loud, but I was like, yes, and I could go nuts further, but I was just so happy. But play of the week, everybody, is Julius Randle's game winner in Miami, the miraculous game winner.
Yes.
Boom.
One more time for the crowd.
Oh my God.
Banger.
Miraculous.
So I'd like to, before he hops off, I'd very much like to thank Hector for coming on. This was more of a last minute thing. Our original guest did not show up or text me at all, but don't worry about that. Hector, you are the man. Keep doing what you're doing and tell everybody where they could find you.
Yes. Thank you. First of all, Luca and Donald. Hopefully you guys have more guests that cancel for you guys, because I would love to be a second option. So anytime you guys need me on a Friday night, just reach out and I'll be here. Same thing with you guys. I would love to have you guys on the Knicks Morning Brew one of these times. Donald has already been on the Yanks Morning Brew. We'll set it up. But appreciate everybody. You guys can catch me over on the Morning Brew Sports, where I do the Yankees Morning Brew and the Knicks Morning Brew. Also Friday, NYY News TV, I do Get Yank with my guy Jiggerman Porto over there. Shout out to Pete Simonetti. That's one thing, NYY News TV, Pinstripe Chronicles. We in the house, baby. All of us. But one thing I want to just say before I leave, when it comes to Knicks fans, Luca brought it up. When it comes to Obi Toppin, you just have to recognize Obi Toppin is not the player we thought he was. Obi Toppin, he has one ability and one ability over only. He could jump out of the gym and he can knock down an open three-point shot. Besides that, that's about it. He's a one-trick pony. So get ready for this offseason for him to be traded away from this team. I would love to see Obi Toppin succeed here in New York, but it's not going to happen. And with that, guys, I'm out. Peace.
You're the man, Hector.
Good night,
babies. Have a good one.
So thanks. First of all,
he is the man. That was awesome. Really, really good.
Awesome stuff from Hector. Obviously, guys, I'm pretty sure the link should be in the chat. It was actually a late minute thing, but thank you very much to Hector coming on. He saved us a lot. Awesome stuff. So, Donald, as we said last time, we're going to rank the top centers in the NBA. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick, and we're obviously going to do the ranking of Mitchell Robinson. So here we are.
Hector's comment at the end.
Later, fellas, thank you. Thank you, Morning Brew Sports. We appreciate your support.
My guy.
So let's rank the starting centers. Donald, do you want to rank any of the categories? Do you want me to write them down or just re-edit them?
Get the comment up again.
Oh, you can find Hector on the Knicks Morning Brew and the Yankees Morning Brew, and get yanked on usually Fridays, 4 o'clock, NYY News TV. So Hector is everywhere, folks. He's not a one-trick pony. So again, we thank Hector for coming on. So we're gonna, as we said last week, we're gonna do the top centers in the NBA. So we got star A, B, C, and D. So let's get right into this. Where are we ranking Jakob Poeltl?
C, D, C, probably C.
I'll give him a C. Like, I could honestly reword these categories. I'm going to put in good, above average, average, and below average. Just give me 1 second here. Doing how this go. Average, above average. Well, the one thing about Pirtle is I'm actually going to put him at above average because he's a really good passer, especially on the low blocks. So next up, Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, he's approaching star category. Whether he is or not, it's debatable, but I think he's probably closer to the star category. But if you want to put him in good for now, then that's cool.
Yeah, Siakam's not really a center though. He is a traditional power forward,
Yeah.
but they love to play him at center this year. So next up, Ivica Zubac.
I like him. He's above average, I think.
Yeah, I think you could put him there too. Thomas Bryant.
He's been a solid role player. Well, he was a solid role player for the Lakers. Maybe average.
Yeah, we can leave him there. Wendell Carter Jr.
I haven't watched much Magic games. Or where would you put him?
Let me just read out his stats. 15 points per game. Actually, he's found his shot from downtown ever since going to Orlando. 15 a game, 8. He's averaging 15, 8, and 3, 51% from the field, 34% from downtown. So I'll go above average.
Yep.
We obviously change this up. Next up, our guy, Mitchell Robinson.
Yesterday aside, good, I think.
I think we'll leave him in good too. Nicholas Claxton.
Beside Mitch was good, I think.
Very impactful. Isaiah Stewart.
Would you say above average?
I'm gonna go average. He's not a huge stopper.
Okay.
Alperen Şengün. I'm actually a fan of his. I like his unique skill set.
Yeah, what do you think? Good?
I think I'm gonna put him
Or above average?
Above average. Above average for now. This guy's an unknown, so I don't know where to put him. Chet Holmgren. Hopefully
yeah. Who knows? Just put him in the above average category for now because we'll just rely on his.
I'm actually going to throw him in the unknown category.
All right.
That's what he is. He's an unknown. Next up, JaVale McGee.
I used to really rate him, but now he's old and toast. So
below average.
Okay.
Nikola Vucevic.
Again, the same thing, man. He used to be great, but now he's kind of old and a little bit cooked. So you want to put him in the average or above average category?
He used to be good. I'm going to throw him above average because he still has the shot from the outside, but he's terrible.
Can't defend for the life of him. So bad defensively.
Next up, Nikola Jokic. I think this is an obvious.
Yeah, I think he's below average.
We'll put him in the star category, obviously.
What about Perkins getting himself in all kinds of trouble by refusing to give Jokic his flowers? So in the end, starts a race debate.
I thought that was really stupid to do. Honestly, he's like, "Oh, he only won this because he's white." I'm like, "Come on, listen, you don't like the guy, that's understandable. When you're bringing in non-necessary race stuff into it, that's
I mean, a dude that gets a triple-double in his sleep, you can't really bring up non-real factors just to try and support your argument. That was just dumb. I mean, I don't think he's the MVP this year, but that doesn't mean he's not awesome.
Of course. Kristaps Porzingis.
Ugh.
Bad defensively, but very good offensively.
Yeah. I can't stand him. You do your thing with him, man. I don't know. I don't care.
I'll put him in good because of his shooting ability, but his obviously averages 21 a game. Walker Kessler. Actually been very good since coming out of Auburn. I wasn't as high as him as you were, Donald.
Yeah. No, I like him. You put him in above average, I think.
I'm gonna put him in average right now until he bumps up that scoring. But he's very good defensively. Obviously, he's averaging 8 and 8. I think this is Kevon Looney.
Kevon Looney? Where's Dre? Do they not have Draymond Green?
Doesn't look like they do.
Draymond Green's 5.
Sometimes Kevon Looney is, but honestly, below average. I'm not a fan of his. He's like okay.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, a couple of years ago, he was a solid role player, but now he's a non-factor.
Rudy Gobert.
I'm not a fan of his. I've never have been. Like defensively, he's excellent, but you can never convince me he's a star. So like he's far overpaid. He doesn't make any impact on games, as far as I'm concerned. I think he's one of the most overrated players in the NBA. Now that doesn't mean that he's a bad player. It just means
Right.
he's incredibly overrated.
I think we're going to leave him in good for now.
Fine.
Obviously, maybe I could change this up to be like 1 to 5, 6 to 10, is like it was did with the point guard position. Jonas Valanciunas.
Larry, are we still on for 3?
I'm on the phone.
When you and your team need space to work
Valanciunas,
I'm sending
I
it.
consider him above
and a
average.
place to eat.
What is that?
Carl, is that mackerel?
No, it's trout.
Let's see.
Does anyone see my mayonnaise?
Above average. Let me check his numbers for the
Nope,
year.
Found it. False alarm.
Valanciunas for the season is
It
averaging
matters where
14 a
you stay.
game, nearly 10 rebounds and an assist per game, 54% from the field, 34 from three.
Hilton for the stay.
So right now I always like Valanciunas. I think he's above average.
All right.
Next up, we got Domantas Sabonis, who we faced yesterday.
Yeah, you could make the argument he's a star or good.
I think I'm gonna leave him in good. Not a lot of star power, obviously, but
I think he's much better than everyone in good, though. Don't you think?
he definitely has a unique skill set. He's not a great defender, but he's an excellent passer and he's a good scorer, especially in the post. So
I'm going to put him in the star category, in my opinion, because we don't really have.
all right, I'm gonna
enough
change it up.
people
I'm
there.
gonna do. There's not a lot of stars, should I say? So we're gonna throw him in the star really good category.
Okay.
Yusuf Nurkic.
Well, I actually really like him offensively. Defensively, I don't. So like, he made bigger impacts in prior years. I don't know what kind of impact he's making these days because he's always hurt.
Right.
But like his skill set offensively is good. What would you say to good or above average?
He also could pass a little bit, so I'm gonna throw him in above average.
Okay.
Robert Williams.
He's well, we've changed it now. It's no longer good above average.
Yeah,
right,
I'm
okay.
changing on the fly.
Oh, I can see that. You're changing the rules on me here, man. It's hard to categorize.
Right.
Okay. Well, I would say so. I take it the top tier is the top tier, the second
Yep.
tier, third tier, right?
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay. Well, I guess he's third tier.
11 to 15, 15
Yeah.
to 20. I'm gonna throw him
don't think
here
it-
right now.
yeah, I
Obviously,
think
we
he-
can disperse.
Okay.
Brooke Lopez, very much a contender for Defensive Player of the Year.
For sure, man. He makes such an impact for
I
Milwaukee.
think I'm gonna throw him here for right now.
Really?
And it would be very fair to do that. Joel Embiid, obvious. He is
I
a
think
beast.
He should be number one.
Yeah, I think we'll throw him there. Clint Capella.
I like him. Let's see. In the 6 to 10 range?
That's fair. Very fair. Jared Allen.
Oh, he's definitely in the 6 to 10 range. Well, I mean, you could even argue that he's in the top 6. But we'll.
He was an all-star last year. He usually averages around like 14 and 10, but like I've liked him since he was in Brooklyn.
Me too.
He's been that good.
He's one of the only people I liked in Brooklyn. He was awesome.
Let's see. This is first we'll go with Miles Turner.
I quite like his game. Maybe the middle tier.
11 to 15.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
We got Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets.
I guess what 16 to 20 range or 21 to 25.
Let's see. Yeah, 21-25 for right now. I liked him coming out of college, but got to prove more a little bit. DeAndre Ayton.
Well, he's really good, if not slightly overrated.
That's true. I think he was contested for 6 to 10.
I think so too.
Bam, I think I'm going to throw him in the top 5 or consideration.
Yep.
And Steven Adams.
Very good again. I've always liked him. He's just an absolute warrior.
Very good
All right,
offensive
we've
rebounder.
got a
Good
lot
pass.
to work on here. Okay, so
Yes.
right. Everyone in the chat, just help us out a little bit so we can get this organized. Yeah, Embiid and Jokic is 1A and 1B, really.
Of course.
Probably Bam after that. What would you say?
Yeah, that's most fitting for right now.
Um,
Then you got Sabonis, Lopez, and Allen.
Okay, and then the next tier. Siakam. I mean, I don't know. I think Siakam. Yeah, Siakam's fair there, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who are we going to take? There's one player we got to take out of the top 5.
Probably, I would say either Brook or Jared Allen. Probably Brook. Yeah, I'd say Brook Lopez because Brook's not really making too many All-Star games these days.
I disagree because, you could argue in today, like this year, he's been top 5. He's a defensive player of the year candidate, probably the leader. So I'd actually throw Sabonis out of the top 5. He'll be like number 6 or 7, though. Not that I don't rate him. So I think I'm going to throw him in this.
Because Sabonis is like
Sabonis is the better scorer. I agree.
He's so important to the Kings that I would argue after what he just did to us yesterday, kind of hard to argue against him being up in that top tier.
No, I don't disagree. It's just that, Lopez is a contender for defensive rookie of the year. He's been that good this year. I mean, if I have to pull up his stats, Lopez.
Yeah, let's compare the numbers. It's a war.
15.2 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 38% from 3, 51% from the field. He's averaging 2.5 blocks and half a steal per game. For Sabonis, obviously there's going to be more in the scoring output, 19 points per game, 12 rebounds a game, and 7 assists, 61% from the field and 36% from downtown.
I think the stats are pretty obviously in Sabonis' favor.
And he also has more win shares than Brook Lopez. So I think I'm starting to lean Sabonis here. Not that I disrespect Lopez, but I'm going to leave him out of the top 5 for right now. So now we got a lot to sort through the 6 to 10 range.
Okay, so I do put Mitch slightly ahead of Claxton.
That's fair.
I think we could move Porzingis down a little bit.
Yeah, let's move him down
a lot of bit.
Let's see. I think we could move Gobert ahead of Claxton.
Yep.
I think we'll put him at number 8.
You put him ahead of Mitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd also like to throw Ayton in the top 10. Obviously, we got to take out some guys here. There has to be 5 at least. So we got to take out 3. Capella, Ayton, and Adams are the ones remain.
Probably Adams.
I don't have a problem with placing Adams just outside of the top 10.
Yeah, I think so.
There's also Ayton and Capella. I don't think Capella's been as impactful this year as
No, he hasn't. He's always hurt, so I think we can move that down too.
And then, is it Ayton or is it Nicholas Claxton? I'd actually throw Ayton in there.
Then throw him down.
All right. So 11 to 15, again, a lot to sort through. You got Adams. I'm fine with leaving him at 11. Mm-hmm. You obviously got Pirtle. There's a lot of mid here.
Move Pirtle way out.
I think we'll leave him right here. You got Carter. I think we can move him down. Yeah. You got Zubats, Valanciunas, Şengün, Vucevic. And now I'm just randomly sorting right now. So 11, and then it's pretty much wide open. So who would you put at number 12 through 15?
Quite low. Well, I think Zubac can be moved down.
That's fair.
So Adams, Claxton. I think probably Claxton.
That's fair. We'll move him down.
Oh, actually, I would have moved him up, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cool.
All right, we'll leave him at 12 for right now.
Valanciunas is good. Şengün is good.
Now, 15. I think Miles Turner.
Yeah, I think Turner. Although Williams,
He
just
does make a
considering-
good argument.
I think Williams because
Yeah, I agree.
Really needs him. He's such a good defender. He's excellent. I'm
All
good
right,
with that.
so we got to move all these guys down now.
Yeah, I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep over them.
No. Number 16, who are we putting there? I think Miles Turner.
Yep. Then Clint Capella.
Agreed. Who's after that? Now this is an open debate. Maybe
probably
Vucevic.
I'd put Porzingis ahead just because of his impact this year and his all-around scoring.
I think Vucevic has to be somewhere in this category. So I think I'm going to throw him 16, 17, 18. I'm going to throw him at 19 because of his scoring.
Yep.
And then it's wide open from here, as we said. You got Zubats, Pirtle. I think I'm going to throw Kessler down and Stewart down. So it's going to be Zubats, Pirtle, or Nurkic.
Move Pirtle down.
I agree. And it's Zubats and Nurkic. They kind of do both of the same thing, although I think Nurkic is a little more offensive oriented, though Zubats is a better defender.
Yeah, do you want to compare the stats?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure who played better because we've not really watched enough games of those two guys. I think Zubac probably gets the edge.
Yeah. So Nurkic has played in 46 games this year. 13 points per game, 9.4 rebounds, and nearly 3 assists per game, 52% from the field, 37% from downtown, win shares around 2.7.
That's nice.
He's not good. He's not injured right now. Zubats has played a lot more games, 62 games, 10 and 10, 1.1 assists, 62.4% from the field. Blocks per game for Zubats are 1.3, and he's nearly averaging half a steal per game. For Nurkic, he's averaging 0.8 blocks per game and 0.8 steals. I think I'm favoring Zubats.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Zubac is a better year.
All right. Now 21 to 25.
Well,
I think I'm going to throw Nurkic at 21.
Yep.
Let me see. So we have McGee. I think we'll throw him in below average for right now.
Yep.
Looney as well. I think I'll throw Pirtle at 22 because of his defensive passing ability.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We have Stewart, Kessler, Wendell Carter, and Mark Williams.
I think Kessler needs to be there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to throw him at 24 at least. No, I think he's might actually make an argument to be one actually like 23 or 24, not 25.
I think he should be higher than Williams for sure.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna leave it like this, honestly. Nurkic, Pirtle, Wendell Carter, because he could space the floor, Walker Kessler and Isaiah Stewart. And then
To be fair.
obviously, I'm just gonna say this as a disclaimer. Holmgren's an unknown because he's obviously hurt. And 26 through 29 is obviously up for debate.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's harsh on Holmgren putting him dead last.
I think
so
we'll make a
let's move him-
category for him.
Let's move him up one place just so he doesn't get the indignity of being last. So, no, one spot ahead of the 26 to 30.
Oh.
So,
All right.
just so he doesn't have that indignity because I think it's unfair on him.
Of course.
Who do you think is the worst player?
McGee, Bryant can put up points off the bench.
Yep.
So I'm going to go JaVale McGee. He's the worst.
Okay.
And Mark Williams, I think he's better than Looney, but I think he's
Looney's-
also
Yeah, I mean, Looney's just done a garbage job for the Warriors this year, I think, because the Warriors always look like they're short of size for some reason. Every time I watch them, I'm like, this team would be really good if they had some size. Do you kind of see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. So this is our top 30 centers. I think we ranked out very fairly, Donald. It was actually a very quick rank.
Yeah, it's kind of straightforward, really. There's actually no one really bad at the 5.
No. There's not one.
There's not genuinely just bad basketball players.
No.
They all do their job fairly well. And there's certain centers that aren't actually listed, like Draymond, I think, is a 5 more than anything.
That's true.
I'm surprised he's not there. And what about our main guy who we really wanted from Detroit?
Duren, yeah. But
Where's Jalen Duren?
I don't know. The question is, does Jalen Duren come off the bench or does he start games? Let me see how many games he started this year because I think Stewart comes off the bench, not Duren.
Exactly. And you know what? Like, let's be fair. Like, McGee, I mean, he's fairly irrelevant these days. I mean, he used to be
Yeah.
good like 5 years ago. Now he's kind of old. He's just kind of a part bench player. So maybe this thing needs updated because
Yeah.
there's some things that seems to be omitted from the list that should be.
Yeah, definitely. So, what's going on, Jets Miss Mess?
Yeah,
Yeah, this I think we'll sometime soon. Maybe I could create one of my own, but
Yeah.
I think that's something I got to do for next time. I'm just gonna download this, or at least no, I don't need to save this because I'm gonna update it. Anyways, Donald, we have more player awards just before we get out of here. Who is your? Let me see, MVP of the week?
Well, it's actually not going to be straightforward because we don't
It's
have
not.
the nice, easy Jalen Brunson award which you normally give. Randall has been off last couple of games, so he can't get it. I would argue Josh Hart.
That's fair. That's incredibly fair.
Josh Hart or
For his
Emmanuel
hustle
Quickly.
alone.
Emmanuel
go-
Quickly probably deserves it. Emmanuel Quickly probably deserves it because of the Celtics game alone, which was just historic and unbelievable. But he's also been kind of cold these last two games. The one good guy that's been consistent every single game this week has been Josh Hart. So
Quickly was 5 for 16 against the Hornets, and he started 0 for 10 against the Kings. So you know what? It is hard. It is truly Josh Hart. Now, if you want, you can add in a co-MVP or an underrated MVP.
yeah, you could go the low key MVP or something like that, or make up a new award like best individual performance, and that obviously goes to Emmanuel Quickly.
Emmanuel Quickly. I'm just going to type it in here. So our low-key MVP is Emmanuel Quickly. Now, who is our LVP?
So you could make the argument that Mitchell Robinson for getting toasted against Sabonis, Julius Randle for being ice cold these last two games.
It's a lot.
But then again, it'd be unfair on him considering how great he was against the Heat and how great he was against the Celtics. So I think that would be unfair to give him that award, but he was really legitimately bad against the Kings, apart from the fourth quarter. RJ Barrett played really well against the Celtics, but then awful against the Hornets. And
I go Obi Toppin.
Or Obi Toppin. But Obi Toppin's kind of irrelevant because he only plays like 10 minutes. Is it really worth putting him in the LVP category? Like, he doesn't play enough to get that award, let's be honest. Like, he's just kind of irrelevant at this point. I would argue you could give it to I hate to say RJ Barrett, man. Hate to say it.
I mean, it's like he had an okay game against the Celtics because he started off really well. He was like 12 points in the first quarter, and then it's just like he's missing shots. He's not picking up his defense, all that, and it's just like, again, it's the typical RJ Barrett game. He has a really good half, whether it's the first or the second, and it's the tale of two halves essentially. Like he can have a good first half, but a really shitty second half, or he could really have a shitty first half or a really good second half. So. Again, I'm going to give it to RJ Barrett.
Who would your award be? Who would you give it to?
I'm going to give it to RJ Barrett because, again, he's too topsy-turvy where he's half and half. I just can't go with that. And it's not being repetitive. It's not being hated. Just calling out the facts. RJ Barrett's not consistent, and he was bad yesterday. He was getting mopped the floor with. His finishing at the rim is lackluster. So,
like, when I think there was a point where I think we lost the game, and it was when we took out Mitchell. Well, no, it was Isaiah Hartenstein, we got rid of all the fives that we had on the court. No, it was Mitchell Robinson. We took off Mitchell Robinson, and then we put on RJ Barrett and went small ball. Do you remember that point in that lineup? And
yep.
I remember saying, well, that's a mistake. And then the Kings went on like a 10-0 run or something like that, or a 14-0 run at that point. Again, I really don't miss RJ Barrett when he's not on the court. In fact, I'm thankful when he's not on the court because the team plays better, in my opinion. The defense is better. They just move the ball better. Maybe they don't score quite as well, but because he can get to the paint when it's strong side. But apart from that, he really doesn't have much of a game.
As we said, there's not much that's improved. So let's go to last week's score predictions. Donald, you predict that. First of all, we were both off on this one. Donald, you predicted that the Knicks would win 112-107. I predicted 110-104. For tomorrow's game against the Clippers, who are you picking?
Well, how do we do these rankings in future now? Because obviously we got the score right. Well, we got the prediction right because our team won.
Right.
So how do you want to rank it? And like, in order to make this a kind of a competition or make it more interesting. So we say you get a point for predicting the right team.
Okay, yeah, point for right team, and then and then I'd say point for I don't know if we do closest score or accurate score because
I think closest, yeah, like if within the right kind of margin, you get an extra bonus point.
Yeah, you predicted the more points. Obviously,
and then if you get the right score, you get like 3 points or something like that.
Yeah.
How about that?
So right now, you would probably be in the lead, 2-1. So it's obviously competitive as right now. So Donald, who are you picking in tomorrow's game? Do the Knicks bounce back against the Clippers?
I think that they'll play better. I hate to say it though, but with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and no Jalen Brunson, I just don't see us having enough scoring. I think we'll keep it competitive. I just don't think that we've got enough. Having said that, Russell Westbrook is going to be such a negative influence on that team that we could actually win that game now that I think about it. But on paper, it's kind of a no-brainer. I think the Clippers win. Give me... Well, the fact is the Knicks scored like 117 points last night by playing like crap and shooting like 30% from the field. So, if they shoot a little bit better, they probably score like 130 regularly. So give me like 122, 115 to the Clippers.
That's a fair score. Just so you know, guys, the last game was 134-128 in overtime. The Clippers obviously won. Donald, I'm going to side with you on this one. Okay. I don't think the Knicks will win. Obviously, competitive, I think, is one thing. So I'm going to go just going to come up with score. I don't think it's a low 100 score. I think it's going to be in the mid 100 teens. 116-110, LA Clippers victory, unfortunately. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we're both wrong. But obviously
if there's a way to beat them, it's targeting Russell Westbrook. Yes. We can cook him with Emmanuel quickly off the dribble, but this would be the ideal opportunity to play Derrick Rose because we don't have to worry about the defensive end because listen, Russell Westbrook is so bad defensively that D Rose could cook him. And D Rose doesn't really have, and Westbrook doesn't really have any game apart from getting to the paint. So I think D Rose, you could bring him into the rotation. I think he'd be absolutely fine against the Clippers. But we know he won't. I think he's just done. He's not obviously going to take any part the rest of the year.
Yep. So just to give you guys a little update for the upcoming schedule, it is the Clippers tomorrow at 4:00, Sunday on ESPN. Actually, Sunday we'll be having our call-in show, so please be sure to call in 8:30 p.m. as always for the monthly call-in show. We usually do it the first Sunday of the month, but we didn't do that last week because we were obviously calling the Celtics game, and obviously we won, so that was good on our part. But Sunday will be the call-in show 8:30 p.m. But to continue with the next schedule, they have a Tuesday game against the Blazers, and then they don't play till Saturday at home against the Nuggets. That'll be some valuable.
Are we playing on Saturday and then the Lakers Sunday?
Well, this week is Saturday against the Clippers, Sunday against the Lakers. Then next week it's Tuesday against the Blazers, and then they don't play till Saturday, March 18th against the Nuggets. Right. So those days, those 3 or 4 days are going to be very valuable rest, and you hope that Jalen Brunson at least is somewhat better. But again, as we said, I wouldn't play him right now. Don't let that injury manifest itself in which in which he worsens that injury. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what we got to – that's what I'm hoping the Knicks do. Hopefully the Knicks are smart. So, a few channel updates before we go to our final thoughts. Tomorrow will be the Giants off-season stream at 8:30 p.m. Diggy and Entertainer will be joining Alex and Donald. It should be a fun show, especially with this whole Daniel Jones stuff. But anyways, obviously they'll preview the rest of the offseason for the Giants, draft, free agency, all that. Sunday will be the call-in show, 8:30 p.m. You guys get to call in. It's more of a Q&A session. We are not going to be really podcasting and talking about such topics, but you guys are going to bring the discussion to us. Not so much us to you, but Q&A, call in, whatever you want to call it. Monday's Boys in the Big Apple, where free agency, Donald, kicks off. It's the tampering period for NFL. Obviously, deals are not made official, but you will hear of deals being signed. And it's going to be fun, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit nervous, but
we should maybe do a stream for that.
I was talking to Alex about that. He said, that is a possibility. And plus, I'm on spring break next week, so we can fit that in.
Yeah.
So, Donald, final thoughts, man.
Thank you so much to Hector at the Next Morning Brew coming on. He was awesome, brought the fire. That was great. We'll have to get him on again very, very soon. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Let's continue to grow this podcast and this channel. Always a pleasure for my main man over here, Luca, to cover the Knicks with you guys. I'll speak to you guys soon.
Yeah, you will see him tomorrow, obviously, on the Giants offseason stream. So for my thoughts, I got to thank Hector, first of all, last minute reach out. First of all, I want to thank Donald for actually suggesting him to me. I was like, wow, that's right. He's not going to be on NYY News today. So he's like, you know what? Yeah, let's bring him in. Because I've always had that idea that I wanted him to bring in. He's a very knowledgeable sports mind, not a one-trick pony. But thanks again, Hector, for coming on. Obviously, he does a really good job. Yankees Morning Brew, Knicks Morning Brew, get yanked at NYY News TV. Obviously, we keep it here. We keep it real as always on this Friday Night Knicks podcast. It wouldn't be the Friday Night Knicks podcast with myself alone, but it wouldn't be a podcast together if it wasn't for Sir Donald over here. He always does a great job. We always do a great job. So, guys, keep it here for the content. There'll be a lot, especially with free agency roaming around. And let's hope those Knicks bounce back tomorrow. Let's hope we can start a new winning streak. So see you guys later. Stay tuned and have a good night.
Let's go Knicks.